So, let's talk about a ghost story, but one for the digital age. We're diving into a mysterious face that seems to haunt an AI's imagination. And get this, it was found by a musical artist named Supercomposite, not some computer scientist. And it all started with one very, very strange question. This is the story of Loab.
All right, so this whole thing kicks off with a question that is just plain weird, one you probably couldn't answer yourself. The artist Supercomposite basically asked an AI, what is the opposite of Marlon Brando? I mean, think about that. It's a bizarre, impossible prompt. It's designed to push the AI to see what it comes up with. And the AI's answer? Well, that's what launched this entire creepy journey.
Now, you might be wondering, how do you even ask an AI for an opposite? Well, Supercomposite used this really cool, kind of experimental tool called a negative prompt weight. Basically, you give the AI a word, in this case Brando, and tell it, hey, I want you to make a picture that is as far away from this idea as you can possibly get. It's a wild way to see how an AI actually organizes its world.
So, what did the AI say was the opposite of Marlon Brando? You'll never guess. It wasn't another person, or an animal, or anything logical at all. It was this. A kind of corporate-looking logo of a skyline with this weird, jumbled text, Digita Prinix. At first glance, it seems harmless, right? But what a strange answer. Okay, but this is where things get really interesting. Supercomposite thought, all right, what if I flip the script? If the opposite of Brando is the skyline logo, then what's the opposite of the skyline logo? Is it going to be Brando? So she fed that skyline image back into the AI, again using that negative prompt weight, but what came back was not Marlon Brando. It was 4 different images of the exact same, really unsettling woman. And on one of those images, almost like a weird signature, was this garbled text. When Supercomposite tried to make sense of it, it looked like it spelled out Loab. And just like that, this mysterious digital ghost had a name.
So who is Loab? Well, visually, she's super specific. She's an older woman, she's got dark hair, these really high cheekbones, and what looks like severe rosacea, which gives her these very distinct red cheeks. But the weirdest part isn't what she looks like. It's that she's a total accident. She's what you'd call an emergent statistical accident, a character that the AI just kind of stumbled upon and now can't seem to forget.
And this is where the story takes a really dark turn. Supercomposite figured out pretty quickly that Loab wasn't just some random face. She realized that the AI seems to connect this woman to some seriously gory and macabre stuff. It's like for some reason in the AI's mind, Loab lives right next door to pure horror. So Supercomposite wanted to see, just how sticky was this character. She started doing what's called AI image crossbreeding. She'd take a picture of Loab and mash it together with something totally different, like a pretty image of a heavenly tunnel a friend of hers made. The whole point was to see if Loab would just, fade away and blend into the new picture. But she didn't disappear, not even close. In fact, the complete opposite happened. Loab's face is so baked into the AI's brain that she just took over the new images. She didn't just hang around, she dominated everything, dragging every new scene into her own creepy, nightmarish world.
And the results were deeply, deeply unsettling. When she was combined with other images, Loab would start showing up in these awful scenes, like just looming behind children in these strange, distorted pictures.
She would invade totally normal settings. Suddenly, she's this terrifying figure popping up in what should be a family portrait, turning something totally mundane into absolute nightmare fuel.
And from there, it got so much worse. Supercomposite said that some of the images the AI made were so disturbing she wouldn't even share them online, describing them as having dismembered and screaming children in them, right there alongside Loab.
The AI just kept creating these endless, painful variations of her. In some, she'd appear as a lifeless child herself, but you could still recognize her face. Still that same person. And in others, she'd look like she was trapped, frozen in some kind of eternal pain. Every single new image just pulled her deeper and deeper into this world of horror that the AI had somehow connected to her, which just leads to the question, how on earth is any of this possible?
Okay, I know. This sounds like something straight out of science fiction. How can an AI get haunted by a face? How does this person who doesn't even exist get so tangled up with horror and gore? To figure that out, we gotta pop the hood and look at how these AIs actually think.
The key to this whole mystery is something called latent space.
The easiest way to think about it is like a giant invisible library in the AI's brain. It's a massive, hidden map where it organizes every single thing it's ever learned. So ideas that are similar, like dog and wolf, are neighbors on this map. And ideas that are totally different, like dog and car, are miles apart.
And that brings us right back to Loab. Her creator calls her an emergent island in the latent space, which is honestly a perfect description. She's this solid idea that just formed by accident. All her features, the red cheeks, the hair, the cheekbones, they're all clustered so close together on the AI's internal map that they've basically become a single stable person. A person who doesn't exist, but is as real to the AI as the word app.
And here's the real kicker. It turns out Loab isn't alone. This whole thing with AIs accidentally creating these persistent, recurring characters, it seems to be a strange little quirk of how these giant systems organize information.
For example, check out this other famous AI ghost, a creature people call Krungus. Now, Loab was found by flipping a concept inside out. But Krungus? Someone just typed a totally made-up, gibberish word into an AI, and bam, it consistently spit out this specific demonic-looking creature. They're both accidents, you see. These ghosts in the machine found through totally different, weird methods.
And that's really the heart of the Loab phenomenon. Her idea is so stable, so well-defined in the AI's mind, that she can survive being mashed up with other images over and over again. Even when you try to dilute her or change her, the AI just snaps right back to her face, because Loab has become this powerful permanent landmark on its internal map.
So what's the big takeaway here? Well, the story of Loab is this powerful and frankly kind of creepy reminder that AI is more than just a fun tool for making pretty pictures. It's a mirror. It reflects the massive collection of human data it was trained on, and that includes all our fears and all our nightmares. It can stumble upon these pockets of horror and just amplify them, creating art that perfectly captures the things that scare us. And that leaves us with one final, pretty haunting question. Think about it. Loab and Krungus were found completely by accident. It really makes you wonder, what other characters, what other ideas, what other horrors are still lurking out there, totally undiscovered, inside the huge, dark abyss of an AI's mind?